my mind spinning all through the night.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Jalen and Cacie Show,
where we teach you how to discover your purpose,
master your relationships,
and live the blessed life.
Amen. That's what we're here for. So thank you for tuning in. As always, let us know in the chat right now where it is you're watching from. Mm-hmm. And if you have any video or audio issues, please let us know so we can try our best to fix them for you.
Please.
But yeah, so let us know where you're watching from. Let us know your time zone, all that stuff. We got a lot of people from all over the world, and we love to hear from you guys. Couple of things. Subscribe to our mailing list.
We have a mailing list.
Yes, we do. So if you look at the chat
we're
now,
almost legit, y'all.
This is a pinned comment in the chat right now for you to click, or the description of this video if you're watching this on replay. But go ahead, click that link, subscribe to the mailing list. You will get an email to confirm your subscription. Make sure you click that, or you won't start getting emails from us.
And why should they sign up for our email?
Well, if you sign up, thank you for saying that. If you sign up for our, I was going to forget to say this part. If you sign up for our mailing list, you will be notified whenever we go live, whenever we upload new videos or have live events, because we do live events now, in-person events and things like that. So we want you guys to always know what's going on, and we do not want to depend on social media to deliver it to your feed. We want to be able to make sure that we can get it right to you, and the best way to do that right now is by email. So join our mailing list and you won't miss anything.
And it's completely free.
Yes.
No spamming involved, no crazy stuff, but it'll keep you always connected to Jalen and Cacie, what we doing and where we be at, because one day we're gonna be traveling, y'all. Yep.
And shout out to Images by Zell, watching from Virginia Beach. We see you. Thank you very much.
The beach in the house.
Yep. So, we had a good weekend. We're going into a good week here. It is now June.
I cannot believe that we're halfway through the year already.
Oh, yeah.
It's just crazy because we say this every single year. Like, oh, my God, I can't believe it's halfway through the year. But it really does.
Go by very fast.
It does. It really does.
But no, it's been a good year, and it's going to continue to be a good year as we finish out the second half. But getting into summer, we're enjoying it, enjoying the weather, and just having fun as a family. And so we hope you're enjoying your summer. If it is summer in your part of the world, it might be winter for you.
I know. I'm thinking, was it Australia? Is it Australia? They probably.
I don't know which ones it is. Anybody in the Southern Hemisphere, so probably Anybody in the Southern Hemisphere, it's winter for you. So
I think it's weird because they celebrate Christmas in the summertime. It's
really
hot. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I think so.
No. I see. My bad. I see what you're saying. Christmas is still December 25th, but
it's warm.
It's warm, so it's like summer. I got you. Yeah, my bad. I missed what you were saying there. You're correct. Okay. Anyway, let's hop into today's story time. Let's have some fun. All right. So for today's story time, it's going to tie directly into our topic, but we're going to tell the story of how we bought our house.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah. There's actually a video on our channel, a vlog we did of like when we closed on the house and going in the first time and all that kind of stuff. But the lead up to it was very...
And we never did a house tour.
Yeah, we really did. Not a finished house tour because it took too long for the house to get finished. It still ain't finished. We're still making changes.
4 years later. You spent 4 years.
Yeah, it's been 4 years.
Yeah, it's coming up on 4 years.
Going on 4 years, toward the end of this year. So yeah, we moved into our house in December of 2020.
Closed November 30th.
Yeah.
Of 2020.
Exactly. So it was a big step for us. First house. This house we're living in now. And, we had previously, we've told bits and pieces of this story before, but we're getting all here in one place. But we had previously looked for a house earlier on, being married, and just didn't work out. We didn't qualify for what we wanted to qualify for, and it just wasn't coming together. Then we had our son. He was born in August. And in September, I heard the word of the Lord very distinctly tell me, start looking for your house.
Get up and move out of Canaan and go to the land which I showeth thee.
And so
because we were in Canaan, y'all.
No, Canaan was a promised land.
Oh, that's right.
You're thinking of the will. Well, okay, we're getting to
never mind. I messed
wilderness
it up.
Into the promised land.
Never mind. I'm mixing up my Bible stories.
I mean, technically, I guess they left Egypt. I guess the wilderness was in Canaan, but they had to get into the rest. But it doesn't matter. The point is, we were in the wilderness.
No, it was Haran. I'm thinking about.
Oh, leave Haran and go to Canaan. Gotcha.
Yeah, I mixed up the story.
You got it. There you go. You got it. All right. Anyway, just completely derailed the story there. So, Lord said, go, and I told you, and of course you were gonna have no problem with that word from the Lord because
because I want to be out of there day one.
She had been wanting to be out of there, so me coming and saying that to you was just like, yep, let's do it, let's go.
But also, but honestly, because we just had JJ, I was like, are you serious? Because I'm in no condition to pack, get ready. I had settled in my mind that this is where we're gonna be for a little while, and I made myself content finally.
It was logically the worst time because before we were trying to move, when we were taking into account having children, things like that, one of the thoughts was we got to be in a house and have the space. I believe you had settled in yourself. I'm going to trust God. We'll be fine. We'll make it work in the space that we're in now. Yeah. You know, he's just a small baby. He's going to be in our room. We're going to make it work.
But let me tell you, babies take up a lot of space. Don't believe that lie. Babies take up space, y'all, because
their stuff takes up space.
Their stuff takes up space, and they don't stay small very long.
Yeah.
And so I thought to myself, oh yeah, he gonna be a small baby for a little bit, so he can take a lot of space. Lies.
But because we only had one other bedroom.
He had more clothes than we did.
But he wasn't going to be in there because that was like our office / junk room because we had so much storage. Not junk room, storage room. So that's why we wanted a house. But we were like, you know what? We'll just wait. We'll trust God. It's time to have a baby. Because we obeyed God on having a baby. And we said we're going to do that. And so then right after that, that's when the Lord says, okay, time to go get a house. And I was like, I wasn't prepared for that. I thought we were, chilling on the house thing for now. So that was September. So we called up our realtor and said, hey, time to start looking for a house again. And everything moved very fast. That was September and December. We were December 1st, we moved into the house. So it's a very short amount of time for everything to happen. You got to close, you got to find a house, you got to close, put an offer, then close, all that stuff, right? So there's a lot of things that happened, and that whole process was a lot of trust in God. But I'm not going to go into too much every single detail of the story. What I do want to talk about is the day we decided to put that offer in. We're standing in what is now our house, and I was standing in the area that is our dining room area. And you were in the kitchen was straight ahead of me. And our realtor was off to the left here from the living room. And I'm standing there. And throughout the whole process of looking for this house, I'm doing it because that's what God said to do. And I believed I heard him. But I still didn't really know how to finance this thing was going to work out. I really didn't see how we were going to do it with having to pay a mortgage. That was going to be more than our rent, all that kind of stuff. And so I'm standing there. And I kind of hemmed and hawed on some of the other places we looked at. And I always had a reason
because
why.
My husband was so picky.
Yep.
He is not a picky person at all. So I'm like, why the heck are you being so picky? I'm the picky one.
Yep.
But every place we went to, like, I don't like that. I don't like that. I'm like, what?
It's like I kept finding a reason to not kind of pull the trigger, And it became very clear to me when the Lord speaks to me, there's sometimes I hear very distinct sentences. And sometimes I get sensations, not sensation, but like a sensing of something, a prodding but a sensing of something that I can verbalize into a sentence, even if he didn't give it to me as one. And one of the things that I could sense that wasn't specifically verbalized, but I could put into words was that he was waiting on me to decide which house we were going to go with. Because it was like, I'm over here waiting for some like, oh, this is the perfect one. But the only perfect house for me that would have made me feel comfortable was a free house, So I was never going to find that.
Because when you broke 99.
So I was never going to find that. But, and so I realized I was doing a lot of stalling. And so I'm standing here in a house that was perfectly fine. There were no lights in the air, no dove descended. But that was clear to me that like, look, Jalen, you're dragging your feet. You got to make a decision. Whatever house you pick, God's going to take care of you. And so we're standing there and I was trying to get you to be the one to help us back out of this one. So I went to you because our realtor, she was giving us the rundown of all the closing costs and things like that, all this money we didn't have. And so you were in that kitchen and I was like, hey, this is how much money in calculation, because it was like 3% for closing costs and this much for down payment. And I did the math and I was like, this is how much money we're going to need to close. And it was something approaching like $20,000, something like that for everything. And, no, it wasn't quite that yet, but I'm going to explain why. But it was something like that. And
I think it was like 9, 10.
Yeah. Like it became 20,000 when we realized that I had to pay off my car to get it. And that's when it jumped up. But anyway, so I threw out that number at her and I was like, yeah, what do you think? Kind of hoping she would back
And
off.
now all of a sudden he wants my opinion about, is this the house? When every other house, he's like, nah, I don't like it.
So I threw it at her because I'm trying to find a way to weasel out of this. Because I'm just operating.
You can play at this game, Jack.
And she said, you either said, I think you said, I'm going to follow your faith.
Yeah, exactly what I said.
Because
So
you heard the dollar
fo-
amount, you're like, I'm going to follow your fave.
I'm going to follow your fave. You drag me out here, I'm going to follow your fave.
And so she threw the ball back in my court, and I'm like, dang it. So I'm sitting there, and I can just kind of sense God watching me, waiting to see what I'm going to do. And the best way I can describe it is, and it's going to get into our topic for the day, but this is the pattern of a godly marriage and a godly organization. Your wife is looking to the husband, and that man is looking to God. Mm-hmm. And as long as everybody's looking in those directions, so she's looking at the husband looking to God, everything's going to work out. And so I had to look to God. And I already knew what he told me. He wasn't going to repeat himself. He wasn't going to give me some extra word from the Lord. There was no pastors I need to go to for extra advice and all that kind of stuff. I knew exactly what he had told me, which was start looking for your house. And so I could sense him just waiting for me to take the step of faith and follow through. And so I looked at the realtor and I said, okay, let's put an offer in. And she was like, well, how do you want to go in? Because we had talked about, again, this is 2020.
And the market was crazy.
It was a seller's market, as we were told, which meant people were putting in all kinds of offers. Houses were going for way more than they were worth. It was craziness. There have been houses that we were kind of like semi-interested in, and then the next day it was like, nope, it's off the market.
I mean, next minute, if you didn't have an offer the day you walked in the house, you was not likely to get that house. And that was part of the fear, because the pressure of like, she's like, oh, if you like this house, you might want to put an offer in. I'm like, I remember there was one house that we looked at, and you knew the owners of the house. Remember?
Oh yeah.
And you called up try to see if we could get in because you knew them. It was not that way. It was nobody was doing favors for nobody. It was the highest bidder got the house.
Yep. So we're sitting in there, and I said, let's put the offer in, and then she said, where do you want to go in? And I said, this is the Lord speaking to me, giving me every word to say, and I said, what should we do? How should we put an offer? And she was like, you really just need to give them what they're asking. You don't need to try to go in if you want to get this house. I said, okay. And that's what we're going to do then. Yeah. And I'm like, at that point, what does it matter? I don't have the money anyway. So,
exactly.
So.
Can you take 20% off? You want to work.
Still can afford it. So, and again, it wasn't like the house was crazy expensive or anything like that. It was just.
When you are broke 99, everything's expensive.
So we put the offer in, and a series of miracles happened. First thing that happened was, quote unquote, bad news. We were leaving Aldi because we went to grocery shopping right after that. And I'm just in this mode of like, man, we're doing this. And I get a call from the mortgage, the lending agent. Mm-hmm. And he calls me up and says, okay, well, the house you're about to put an offer in on, we made a mistake when we gave it to you as an option to look at because we didn't put into account the condo fees. So technically you don't qualify for this with your debt to income ratio. And I'm like, okay, well, y'all the ones that told me this house was something we could look at. So y'all the ones that messed up. He's like, well, if you didn't have your car loan, then we could, underwrite the loan for this.
And I think you had like $9,000.
Between $8,000 and $9,000 left in that car. And the Lord began to speak to me immediately what to do. And either the next day or the day following, we paid that car off in full. I won't go into details of all that, but it was basically a gift from someone, and that car got paid off.
And it wasn't a family member.
No, not a family member. Like if you heard the full story, you'd be like, "This doesn't happen." I remember I told the story to some of my friends. One of them was like, "What?" Like he just could not believe it because it sounded so unrealistic. It sounded like I was lying the way the story went, but it happened, and so the car got paid off, and so then we qualified. Then, of course, everybody in this market was paying closing costs.
Yes.
So that was 3%. And but our realtor said she had said something, told her, this was God, told her, put the offer in and ask them to pay the closing costs, which again was not common in that seller's market. They agreed to it. So we watched the $20,000 we needed for closing just keep shrinking and shrinking and shrinking. And so by the time it was done, there was still a great deal of money we needed to close that we didn't have, but another miracle happened because it all happened about 30 days. We were going to close 30. They were like, "Are you comfortable with pushing the closing date like 30 days out?" I was like, "Yes, give as much time as possible because I don't know what I'm going to do here. Let's give God time to work, And but it all happened. By the time we went to closing, we had the money in hand to close, and we walked in the house. And it was a miracle. All happened in 30 days.
Yep.
5-figure miracle that I had never seen that much money come through my hands at one time. But whether through cancellations, favor, or money we put in our hand, it all got done.
You sure did.
And we got into this house. That's the story how we bought this house. And we've been here and loving it and enjoying it. And I didn't realize, because I knew nothing about this stuff, that we have one of the lowest interest rates in history because, again, it was 2020.
And you know it's a God thing because even with all of the, I wouldn't call it setbacks, but setups that we had to fail at keeping this house, God kept us and preserved us. And his hand of favor was always there in a big way to prove to us that he called us to this location. He called us to this place. And even though it's not our dream home, it's not our ultimate place, but it's always so awesome to know that God called you to a place and that you were led there because his grace will be there for you to succeed in that season.
However small, however big, you want to be in the exact place that God put you.
Exactly.
And then that's just where you want to be. However small, however big, wherever it's at. And that's where we are now. So that story of how we bought our house, and that story though of when we were in that dining room and kitchen, and Cacie looking to me and me looking to God, that gets into the topic of today's episode. So let's get into the topic of the week. All right. So the topic of the week, if you've seen the title of this video, is the power of male leadership in marriage. We're going to talk about that because it's very important in understanding that. And what I'm partially making reference to would be a scripture in Ephesians that talks about the organization of marriage. I'm going to use that word organization a lot, and you're going to see why pretty soon. Let's see. Ephesians 5:22 and 23. Wives, submit yourselves unto your own husbands as unto the Lord. For the husband is the head of the wife, even as Christ is the head of the church, and he is the Savior of the body. Verse 24, therefore, as the church is subject unto Christ, so let the wives be to their own husbands in everything. Husbands, love your wives, even as Christ also loved the church and gave himself for it, that he might sanctify and cleanse it with the washing of water by the word. And we go on and on from there. So we're going to be dealing with primarily things that link back to that passage and other passages of scripture. And we're going to talk about that. And understanding, we did a couple of videos a few years ago called The Art of Submission. So we're going to be talking a lot about submission. We're going to talk about leadership, male leadership, and what it all means, and breaking it down so you completely understand what all these things mean and how the organization of marriage that God set up, because marriage, we say this all the time, is all about expanding the kingdom of God. And this is true for any organization, and it's true for God's organizations. When you create an organization, you need a leader. You need a head of that organization. And that's how God designs all of his organizations. Any organization he's created in the Bible, you look at it, whether it was when he created Adam and Eve in the garden, or whether you get to the children of Israel, and then on, and then the church itself, there was always a head. There was always a leader. There was always leadership and submission in play.
Well, I like to kind of give a visual of this. You said everything is an organization. Well, our bodies is an organization.
That's right.
Okay. And it's fitly joined together in a way that is interdependent, is codependent on each other, or its parts operating a certain way and being in a certain position and place in order for your body to function at properly. So we don't expect our head to be where our feet is, okay? Because it can't lead, it can't see. It's being stepped on. Like, it's not designed. The head is not designed to be the feet, and the feet's not designed to be the head. We all get that. But when we look at marriages that are out of order, this is exactly what it looks like. Yeah. It looks like a head that's trying to be a foot and a foot trying to be a head.
Exactly.
And so we have all this misdirection and chaos, and we're trying to redefine order that God set up and have a successful marriage, and it's not, because someone told you, the devil, that being submitted, especially from a woman's point of view, is somehow subjugation to her, is bondage, is slavery, and it's not right. Yep. She has her own mind, her own identity, so she should still have that even though she's married. He has his own mind, his own identity, and he should still have that no matter the fact that he's married. And neither one of them are coming into a relationship trying to be one and represent the kingdom of God correctly. So you have this mismatched body. I mean, really look at an abstract body. You know, the arms trying to be the legs and the legs trying to be the arms. Like, you look deformed. We have deformed marriages because leadership is not where it's supposed to be.
every time leadership is out of play, well, we said this before, marriage is out of play, but when leadership is marriage out of play, society falls apart.
Yep. And
when we have a lack of male leadership in a society, it falls apart. But I'm glad you used that example because it's going to make it very easy to explain this now. So I'm going to go down in order hitting these things, but I want you to always consider that, what you just said about the body, because as important as the head is to send the instructions to the rest of the body, if there is no body, what's the head going to do?
Exactly.
What exactly is going to be accomplished?
Nothing.
So anyway, the importance of leadership. And I kind of already touched on this, but without leadership, the vision cannot be complete because what the leader is serving is the vision. What the organization is serving is the vision. We're here to specifically accomplish a task. If it's a body, like a human body, the human body, we are spirits living in these bodies, but the body in and of itself is a thinking organism that is trying to survive, thrive, and multiply. I mean, that's the command God gave it, to multiply and replenish. So it's trying to do that. So all your bodily functions are working together in tandem to get that done. And the head is giving instructions to the rest of the body so that it all can accomplish that same goal. So the leader, the head, has the vision. Why are the eyes in the head? Vision. So you can see. So the head has the vision and it disseminates that vision to the rest of the body so that we can accomplish this goal. That's how businesses work. You've got a CEO, a president, someone at the head, and everybody's working in this organization to accomplish the same goal. But the person who is at the head is the one who the responsibility falls on to receive the vision, have the vision, and then disseminate that vision and lead everyone, whether they want to be led or not, into the success. Because when all falls apart, it falls on that leader first before anyone else. So that's the importance of leadership. And like I said, the leader has to have a vision. You're not a leader if you don't have a vision. If you don't have a vision, maybe you're a boss, maybe you're a manager, maybe you're even a ruler or a dictator.
Yeah.
But if you have no vision, you are not a leader. And you are not a biblically ordained head if you have no vision. And
you will perish. The Bible talks about that. You will perish. And it's so heartbreaking when we've sat in front of couples and talked to them and we ask them, what is the vision for your marriage? And especially talking to the man, what's the vision for your marriage? And it's like, I don't know. I don't know what a vision is. A lot of times we think a vision is like a business plan. And in a way, yes, it is a structured plan. But to have vision is to have God's direction for your relationship. And like you were talking about, with our house situation, you hearing the voice of God and leading us, because we're in the dark with this. We've never bought a home before. We don't know what we're doing. So it's like you're in the car and you got your headlights on, the Spirit of God is the headlights. He's the light. He's lighting our path. But, we're in there and we're trusting him to move us and direct us because we don't know what we're doing. But you got to be confident in your ability to hear from God. And you got to be confident in your relationship with God to know when he's speaking, when he's leading, so we'll know what direction we ought to go. And it's unfortunate that we don't have strong male leadership who don't know the voice of God for their marriage. So they're just like, I don't know. It sounds like a good idea. And I don't want to get into it, but I've been commanded to talk about this topic, the unfathered wife, which we'll talk about next week, because it all ties into being able to follow God leadership. But we have such a lack of male leadership in the body of Christ or in the world, period.
Well, yeah, for sure. And so this week we're really focusing on the men and talking to the men and talking to women about how to select the right man if you're unmarried. And then next week we'll talk about the women and how to operate with proper male leadership. But for women who are unmarried, I want you to listen to this because I want you to be able to recognize what proper male leadership looks like so you don't tie yourself to the wrong man. There's a lot of women in these relationships where they're being dominated by chauvinistic men who devalue them and make them feel stupid and all this.
They're just bossy,
insecure. Just bosses, but they have no idea what leadership is. And, you can circumvent putting yourself in a bad relationship like that by understanding and recognizing what it is so you know it when you see it. So I said every leader needs a vision. We always go back to the garden effect to see how things were set up. God created man first. He was setting order. So he created the man. He always had woman in mind. But he created man first. Be fruitful, multiply, replenish the earth, subdue it. He gave man a vision. So when a man's vision, and when we're talking about God and biblical vision, that comes from God. And he ministers it unto a man. And that man hears that vision because he has a relationship with God. So if you're a woman and you're wondering what's the right kind of man, a man who walks with God. It was implied that God and Adam walked together in the cool of the day in the garden. Like he had a working relationship with God. That's something I had before I married you. And it was, so let me get ahead of myself. So he had a working relationship with God so that God could minister purpose and vision and design and work to him. So he had a work. He had something that he was working towards on his own, that he was going to accomplish this vision by himself. That's all that he had. And then God was the one that then said, okay, it is not good that you be alone. Why? Because in order to fulfill the vision I've given you, you need help. You need a help meet for you. That word help meet, when you look into it, if I'm pronouncing it correctly, is Ezer. And it is not someone who is lesser. It is someone of equal power and ability. So he created another man, a wombed man, woman, female, to assist and help him complete the vision. If you're trying to do something and you can't do it on your own, you do not employ someone weaker and with less ability, with less intelligence to help you complete it if you need to do something that you can't do on your own.
Right.
You find somebody that either has the same amount of ability as you to multiply or fills in weaknesses that you have and they have strengths in that area. And so you recognize the weaknesses and then they can fill that in for you. All right. Men and women are built differently biologically and spiritually. We perceive, if I never knew that, I know that being married, how we perceive things.
Yeah.
I have laser focused vision for the full vision. You have like this more 360 degree vision where you have the Byakugan. You can see everything. If you don't know what we're talking about, I'm not even going to try to get into it. But you can see everything going around that I'm missing. And that's why I need her.
Yeah.
So God of himself saw Adam, in order for you to fulfill the vision that I gave you to expand this kingdom, you're going to need help. You're going to need woman.
So what I'm hearing is that you should not marry a man that does not have work, that's not working on something, or who haven't already built something. Yeah.
So he should be able to clearly communicate to you his vision. And you should be able to say to him, what's your vision? What is your plan? What is your purpose? What does God put you here to do? He should know that. Like, it should not be like, he don't know. Not saying he's a bad person, but he just don't know. And let me put
and
this
not
disclaimer.
just in the potential realm.
Yeah.
That a lot of times we hear, well, I saw a lot of potential in him. Well, everybody has potential, but it doesn't mean that it's being used.
Yeah. And let me put a disclaimer out there. Very few people get married having all this in order. Even we didn't have all of this in order. We had some parts of it in order, but not all of it. So I'm not coming down on you and saying your marriage is going to fail. You can figure it out as you go.
But if you know to do better, we can do better.
Yeah, exactly. So if you're a man or woman who are single now, I'm telling you, these are things you can do to prepare. If you're already married, these are things you just need to figure out as you go, as like we did on many things. But I did have vision. And just like Adam, God ministered to me and highlighted Cacie to me. And then I had to go and commune with God about Cacie. And then I got a vision for her. I said, if I was going to make you my wife, I needed to have a vision. And again, go back to the garden. When Adam saw Eve, he spoke purpose, design, and vision when he saw her. You are now bone of my bone, flesh of my flesh. And he then set the order for all marriage. A man shall leave his father and his mother and cleave unto his wife, and they shall be one flesh. And that is a definition of marriage. So it's like
he ordained her to work with him in his vision.
Exactly.
At that moment.
Exactly. And it's like, oh, that's kind of interesting. Well, you see it all the time in the world of work. If someone starts a business, they go and find employees. And let me help you here with this, and women, and hopefully you'll enjoy this part. This is the contract that you're cutting with your employer when you get employed by somebody. And this is all men, all women in the workplace. The CEO, the president, or whoever it is, they come to you and they employ you with this idea. I have a vision. I want to accomplish it. I can't do it all by myself because I'm just one person. So I need help. I am going to financially take care of you so that you don't have to worry about your stuff, like how I'm going to eat, how I'm going to live, how I'm going to pay for my rent, all that stuff. I'm going to give you enough money to take care of all of that. And then you're going to be able to spend the majority of your time focused on my vision and bringing my vision to life. That is the employment contract. It falls apart if go ahead. I'll let you go ahead.
No, because sometimes when you be talking, I be seeing things, and I'm like, this is the seek first the kingdom of God principle. Yeah. Okay. So you talk about a man, and correct me if I'm wrong. You talk about a man. He has work. Yep. All right. He has this kingdom. Like, I don't know how to put it into words. Maybe I shouldn't say anything about it right now on live until I get it all figured out. But I hope you clear through it. I just see this like, okay, so this woman's coming along and she's being out from being married. There's a man, he has work, and like you just use an analogy of an employer. Look, I got you. I'm taking care of all your needs. I need you to focus on the vision, the plan.
Yep.
So a man should have provision, a plan, so that you can focus on the vision and the plan.
100%.
100%. You should not have to worry about taking care of yourself and all these things. And I know someone like, well, I can work. It's not about your ability to produce and to and to create, because people talk about that. The Proverbs 31 woman, we have misunderstood that for so long, because all we see is her ability to create, and she's a businesswoman, entrepreneur, and we kind of keep it in that realm when it really wasn't about that. This was a woman who was completely provided for because her husband had vision, he had a plan, and all he needed to say, look, you focus on what I got for you to do, everything else is added unto you, taken care of. So a man has to be like God. You have to be like God, and that's why the word says, love your wife as you love yourself, because that's how God loves us. Yeah.
So you're exactly right. He's got to represent God, because husband is the head of the wife, Christ is the head of the man.
Right.
God is the head of Christ. He said, love your wife as Christ of the church. He's telling you, in order to qualify to be a husband, you got to act like God.
Exactly.
You got to behave like God did. And I'm going to get into that a little bit too. And we're going to see how that debunks all the bondage of treating a woman like she's less than, because that is not how Jesus led. Yeah. So we're going to get into that too. But no, that's everything you just laid out is exactly right. So it goes back to like that employment contract. It's like theoretically, you should only agree to work for somebody if they're paying you enough money that you don't have to also worry about how you're going to eat, drink, live.
You shouldn't have to have 2 and 3 other jobs while working this one.
Because you can't fulfill the vision. Now, what we see in our societies today are broken down businesses, broken down industries and things like that, where people aren't getting paid enough and all this kind of stuff, and we get enough. That's a whole other thing. But that should be the kind of job you should be accepting, is the one that you're excited about because you want to see this vision. And the most successful businesses and organizations and churches are ones where the employees don't even see themselves as employees. They are partakers of this vision. They are excited every day to get up and see this vision.
How many marriages have we dealt with where the husband complains about the fact that the wife spends all her time working, or she's busy in the church, and she can easily get excited about somebody else's project and plan. She spends all her time doing that. But when I ask her to do something, she can't do nothing for me. She's not excited for what I got going on. Comes to find out, he really ain't got a vision or plan. Yeah. He don't have anything that excites her because he doesn't have a vision or a plan, and he's not providing for her the opportunity to be able to focus on whatever he says is a vision, because he ain't got anything.
One thing that attracted me to you when God highlighted you to me was your productivity. You were a businesswoman. You were a business owner. And you had built a business and stayed in business. You were successful at it. You were active in the church. You led a church ministry. You showed me you had leadership skills. You had communication skills. You had interpersonal skills. You had creative skills. You saw all these things, and all that attracted me.
And my eyebrows are on point.
Your body attracted me too. Your physical appearance attracted me. But as a man of vision, your productivity attracted me, because as someone who has a vision needs to be accomplished, who needs help to do it, I wanted to marry someone who could help me do it. So I come to you as a CEO of Jalen Barnes Incorporated and say, look, this is my vision. This is what I want to do. I've seen you. I see what you're interested in, things that you want to do. I think that this aligns. Matter of fact, some of the things that you are doing in business falls in line with my vision. So you're going to still get to do those things. And if you marry me, I will take care of you. I will do this, that, and the other. You want to pay for and care for any of your stuff. And I want you to join up with my vision. Do you want to do this? I can't make you do it. Would you like to marry me? That's how the marriage proposal is supposed to go in all reality. Now, again, how people get started. And I'm going to be honest with you. The part of being able to take care of everything, I couldn't do that day one when we got married. She still agreed to it anyway. That was on her. She agreed to it without me being able to pay for everything. However, now though, at this point, 7 or so years in, that has manifested.
But I will say, it happened pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Because we're quick to jump on stuff and develop quickly, and that's not being arrogant or pridefully, but we believe that God told us to do something and be something, then we're going to prove the word in that situation. We believe that God called us to be together as husband and wife. So we made a point. We're going to prove the word in our marriage. So whatever parts of us that are broken and need attention to, and that was our finances and all the other things that we talked about on the channel, we worked immediately on those things.
Finance was something I focused on very heavily in the beginning of our marriage early on, because that was the area that was lacking.
Yeah.
And based on the fact that I had a vision that I wanted to get done, that God had given me to get done, we needed money to do it. And I needed enough money to be able to secure you so that you could give 100% to the vision.
Yeah.
You know? So it was just common sense. It's not that deep. It's figure out like, well, I think some women just don't want to do nothing. My mind doesn't go there. My mind is, I need your focus to be on this vision, accomplishing this vision. And you can't do that if you got to go out and work for some other man and make money for him, and a little bit of it comes to you just so that you can survive and help me run his household. That's counterproductive. It makes no, why marry me if you got to do that anyway? What would be the point?
And what you were trying to do and what you have done up to this point is you was trying to help me fulfill what God put in me.
Exactly.
The vision you had for me, you saw me and what God had put in me to do, and you was trying to set me up to bring that to the forefront.
I went to God and said, show me Cacie. If I'm going to marry her, show me her. And this before I talked to you, before I talked to your dad. He gave me a vision for you. And it was some industrious entrepreneurial things that he showed me in his vision. And so part of my vision, as it expanded with the idea of marrying you, was to make sure that I put you in a position to be able to accomplish all those things that God showed me. And again, those things were going to take money. It was going to take support. It was going to take me building your esteem up to believe that you could do it and your confidence. And so I was like, all right, I'm all in.
Because guess what that does? That makes your name great.
Yeah, and it makes his name great. Read Proverbs 31 in light of everything that we're saying, and some stuff start clicking for you. So that was that. So every leader needs a vision. I had a vision, and every leader needs a body, an organization. So I've been using the employment example, and some of you that may rub you the wrong way. It's like, so you're saying your wife is your employee. No, but let me put it like this. If we're doing this hierarchy, but look at it, it's not a business organization, but let's just look at it as one. God is like the financier. He's the investor, and he's got a bank of resources. And mankind and the reason I'm using this as examples because it's the one Jesus used. The Lord who went away and left his talents and said, go and multiply and do something with this. Right. And I'm going to come back and I want to see what you've done with it. That's why I'm using this example, because it's what Jesus used. So God is this financier, this investor, has all his resources. And so I'm one of his servants, and he's giving me resources in the form of a vision, in the form of his word, and saying, go and accomplish this. And when Jesus comes back, Jesus is going to look at me and ask me, what did you do with the vision that I gave you, with the word that I gave you for your life, with your purpose in this earth? What did you do with it? And I've got to explain to him what I did or didn't do. All right. So then, just like Adam, as I'm operating and building this, there comes a point when it's not good for me to be alone. And then God's going to come in and step in and say, look at that woman right there. He did that with me. I saw you. And so then me and God begin to converse. And so then, series of events orchestrate, we get married. And so if he's the financier and I'm the founder of the business, you are my CEO, my COO, my president, my co-president, whatever. You're not a janitor. You're a hiring officer in this organization.
I'm an elite employee.
I'm the founder of the organization because it started with me before I met you. It's just I can't go back in time and make you the founder as well. I was the founder of the organization. Jalen Barnes Incorporated. Okay. God is the one who invested, is the investor and the creator of me. So, but if I'm the founder of this organization, I've hired you on, or we've come to a contractual agreement for you to be an officer in this organization with me. So in this organization, we're co-CEOs, co-presidents. Maybe I'm CEO, you're COO, whatever you want to use, whatever like that. But you're definitely not someone beneath me. And here's the problem that why we get so stuck up on this, we get messed up on this whole headship and leadership thing. We think incorrectly that for someone to be the leader and someone to be the head, that means that they have greater value or greater importance, or they're somehow better than everybody else, that they're somehow less than. There can be a leader and there can be a head, but everybody can still be equal.
And the Bible says that we are workers together. It doesn't mean that we're going to have the exact amount of responsibility, the exact amount of labor force. We may not have that based off of our gifts and talents. And I think that's what the example of the talents were to show us. They were actually meant to be workers together. One had the ability to produce 5, other one had 2 and 1. But of course, if you know the story, the one he chose not to do anything with it, and those that did, they increased based off of their ability. It doesn't mean one was better than the other one, because all the 2 that obeyed, they executed the exact same principles to cause increase in their life, and they got it increased based off of their ability. All right. So it wasn't a competition. It wasn't like you said, I'm Lord over you and I'm better than you. Whatever. No, we're workers together, because we both of us, all of us, working for the Lord.
Yes, and that's the key point here, because let me throw this. You look back when Adam and Eve were created, things like that. Everything before the fall, there was no intonation that woman was any less equal than man or had any less authority than man. Matter of fact, even after the fall, there are clues of God's perspective. See, when you read the Bible, you got to look at the parts that are man's perspective and what parts are God's perspective. Because men, historically, throughout the Bible, mankind treated women like property and garbage in that society. But look at how God handled things. Because what's interesting was, there were times when women would go and talk to God directly, even after the fall. It wasn't like, oh, yeah, talk to your husband and the husband got to talk to God. I know. Women would talk to God directly. There was a woman, was it Deborah, that was a judge in Israel. Those were leaders of Israel at one time. So there was a woman that was a judge. And then fast forward to the New Testament, Jesus had women who were his followers who were allowed to sit and learn alongside the men from him as he taught. He didn't say, women, you're not allowed to learn because y'all know how to read and stuff like that. This ain't for you, this is for the men. They were allowed to sit at Jesus' feet and learn too. He appeared to them first, and they were the first ones to preach the gospel that he was resurrected. Then we get further into the church after Jesus' ascension, and there are women who were listed as prophetesses and things like that. So when God is dealing with women, he doesn't say, your ability to deal with me is less than with the man. No.
If God wanted you to be subservient to man or not equal with him, he would not have created you out of the same material. He took you out of man because he wanted you to be like him, to be equal to him. So, because otherwise he could have got a monkey or he could have got some other creature that he created if he wanted Adam to deal with somebody that he had lordship over.
Yeah, he already had lordship over a bunch of beings. So if it was just a matter of having another being have lordship over, and when I say Lord, not that lordship is even wrong, because lordship is actually a good term. But well, actually, I'm gonna help you with that, everyone listening, because this scripture is it. So I'll help you with this, because it says in Ephesians 5, love your wife as Christ loves the church. So she's supposed to submit to you. All right, now, if you're supposed to do this like Jesus did it, how did Jesus handle the people that were submitted to him? Let's read Matthew 20, verse 25. But Jesus called them unto him, and talking about his disciples, and said, you know that the princes of the Gentiles, or the heathens, exercise dominion over them, and they that are great exercise authority upon them. But it shall not be so among you. But whosoever will be great among you, let him be your minister or servant. Whosoever will be chief among you, let him be your servant. Even as the Son of Man came not to be ministered unto, but to minister, and to give his life a ransom for many. That is how you lead and love your wife. Yes. If she submitted to you, that's it. Jesus said, the one of you who is great, you're the servant. I'm the servant to my wife, because Jesus was a servant to his disciples. And he told me to love my wife as Jesus loved his church. His disciples, 12 disciples, that was his church. That's how he handled it. And that's how I handled it. The other key that you got to remember here is that whoever the leader is, they've got to have a head too. And that's and that's the clincher. Women, be very careful. Stay away from a man who seems to understand the submission principle, but you can't find anywhere in his life where he submitted to somebody himself.
Exactly.
Because you don't know how to serve the people who are submitted to you if you've never had to walk in submission. All the days that you're married to this man, he better have somebody he submitted to. There should be another man that you can see in life that he has exercised submission to. You better be able to see it in his parents there in his life, in his pastors. You should be able to see that. That's why I say if you see a man and he has trouble holding down a job, that even that is a clue.
Yeah, it's
because he has a problem with authority.
It's definitely a red flag.
He has a problem with authority. He has a problem with consistency. And these are things that, so if he comes quoting you all the scripture, but you don't see it being demonstrated in his own life where he submitted to anyone, you got a problem because he's going to abuse you because he likes to be a boss who likes to exercise authority, like Jesus talking about these Gentiles, but doesn't like to serve and be a minister himself. He would only understand that that's what it requires to be a real leader if he himself has ever served anybody else. So find a man who has practiced servanthood.
I feel like we need a part 2 because
we're about to run out of time.
We're about to run out of time, y'all, and it is getting good.
Yeah.
So those of you who are just jumping in on the live, y'all gonna have to rewind and rewatch this because this is really, really, really good.
Yeah. Well, so next week we want to talk about that unfathered wife principle, which I'm excited about because it's so cool. But we'll probably maybe start with kind of reviewing this and wrapping this up. But it's, oh my gosh, I love this topic because it's so confusing to most people. But once it started clicking for us in our marriage, it just makes perfect sense, and it's so easy. Because everybody's operating in their role. Like we don't get scared by the term gender roles. And it's very easy for us to work together because my wife is my equal. And I married her with the intent that I couldn't do this by myself. So I need her. It is my best interest to take care of her and to make sure that all her needs are met. And that's why when we got married, I didn't have enough money for all your needs to be met. I made a priority to get that part worked out because I understood inherently that was my requirement as the husband. Because I came to you.
And because that was your focus, I know for a fact that's why the blessing of the Lord has been operating in our lives on the level it's been operating in our lives and the favor of God because of your desire and you're willing to submit to leadership and to be led and to be taught. And, it's just so much that if people would get this one principle, man, their lives would be so much more fulfilling and richer. And it's not as difficult as society has tried to make it. It's not complicated. We make it complicated because we just don't want to be obedient. We just want to do things our way.
Well, if we really have time, we can get into the fall with the serpent, about all the stuff we were talking about recently, about the gender wars of man and woman. We can explain to you what went wrong and why it's so hard for women to submit to their husbands and for men to actually be real leaders who love their wives.
Come back next week.
It'll be fun.
Come back next week.
But for now, we're going to get into more lighthearted things and go into our next segment, our Let's Get Social segment. All right, so
it's kind of hard to make a transition.
I know, right? You're trying to come down, from all the revelation. But last week we asked a question, and that question was, if you could have one superpower, what would it be? And we put the question out to our community, and we got some answers. And we actually, I guess we're still getting answers. So if I missed your answer to put on this graphic I'm about to show you, it's just because I had to get the graphic ready for this broadcast, and you got it in too late. So answer fast next time. But anyway,
your superpower is to be on time.
Exactly. So anyway, this was what we asked. If you could have one superpower, what would it be? And these are the answers we got from our community. Thank you to everyone who sent in their responses. And this was fun. I would say the most popular one was to fly.
Yeah.
To fly seems to have been the most popular.
I don't know why that's so popular. I mean,
I would pick that.
I think people, I guess because they think about Superman and all the other heroes that fly and how cool they may be. But I don't know if I would choose flying.
It would logistically, like, how do you handle the wind, the wind chill, the cold? You have to assume that you also are like Superman. You can handle all that. You know.
If you are a regular person,
you have some problems.
All you could do is fly.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, but anyway, so that
there could be some geese you can be fighting. I ain't got time for that.
I mean, yes. Well, the answers we had someone said it'd be like the Flash. Okay, that's like running fast, super speed. In a way, that's the best one to have, but it also wouldn't really work very well in real life because everything else would be slow. So you wouldn't be able to even use your phone because your phone would be processing slower than you are. So you would be swiping, and then it would be slowly trying to swipe. Like it wouldn't speed up with you.
But I mean, it's a lot of advantages of being fast.
I mean, no, yeah, super speed would be great. Someone said teleport. One that I was surprised to see a lot of was people said the ability to heal, and one of the people said
that's kind of deep.
To self heal and stuff like that. They would want to be able to heal themselves.
Okay,
like everything.
That would be very useful.
What's interesting, I never once considered that. I'm not trying to be deep here. I never once even considered that because since healing is a part of my salvation package, I've never thought about it. Anytime I've ever been sick or anything like that, I've applied faith to
But
it.
no, I can see.
But I get it.
If you lost a limb or something like that, I mean, you would never have to worry about. And I would think there'd be a lot of freedom in your life if you could self-heal, and you had to worry about.
See, that gets deep then.
Yeah.
Because that's kind of the point, right?
Yeah.
Cast every care on God. He was wounded for my transgressions, bruised for my iniquities, chastised my peace upon him. By his stripes I was healed. We're supposed to live without the care for our bodies. That's how we're supposed to live.
Turn that around.
I know, babe. I'm sorry. It just clicked for me. But I'm saying what you just said is kind of the whole thing.
This is the lighthearted part of the show.
I know. All right. But anyway.
that was a really cool one.
Yeah.
I don't think I really came up with one. I thought invisibility would be a good one.
One that was down in the graphic that someone came in before I was today or whatever was someone said to read people's minds or hear people's thoughts.
I don't want that.
That's a problem.
I used to think that I would want that, but I don't think that would be a good one. Not for me, because
I wouldn't want it.
No. Because I think people should have the right to maybe think what they want to think. Because a lot of times the things that we think is not how we really feel. And, we have the opportunity to work it out before we say or act on something. So if you're hearing people's thoughts and...
There's a lot of forgiveness built up to be able to hear people's thoughts.
I don't know if forgiveness would be enough, because I think we would jump the gun on a lot of things and be wrong. What if you heard somebody like, oh man, I'm going to kill that person? And they're not a murderer, but they were just mad in that moment. Then you would try to intervene and cause a whole bunch of problems.
Don't worry about that. It's called Minority Report. You might remember that movie, early 2000s, 90s?
That's a real classic.
Tom Cruise, Minority Report.
So I don't know what I would want for one superpower.
Yeah. Someone said Superman, but that's too many powers. You got to pick one.
I don't know.
Images by Zell saying no one ever picks telekinesis. Yeah, most people don't even know what telekinesis is. That's the problem. But telekinesis, that's a good one.
You might want to explain what that is. People know what that is.
Move things.
Yeah.
With your mind.
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of psychokinesis. Telekinesis, you could be using your hand, whatever. But anyway, the point is, that is literally the most useful one. Remote, water.
Yeah, but man, I've been
your kid running somewhere hither.
I would freak people out, man. I don't know. I'll probably be very mean with that one.
Yeah.
Cause I
move cars out your way. That's causing you problems.
But tripping people all the time because they get on my nerves. Yeah, that'd be a fun one to have.
There's a reason why these abilities are not available in our lifetime.
I can see myself abusing that one big time.
We would abuse all of them, to be perfectly honest with you.
Yeah, for sure.
Especially visibility, because then we'd be selling secrets and stuff like that.
Yeah,
I definitely.
But I would vote that the ability to self heal is probably my favorite one.
Yeah, that's not a bad one at all. It's actually probably the smartest one to pick.
Most practical.
Question is, to what degree?
Oh, like live
forever? Are you immortal? Because do you really want to live forever like that?
That's
that
true.
In this body amongst people, generations? That's
So
problematic.
now we're about to write a whole comic book.
Okay, so that was good. Do we want to look at some memes today?
We
can look at maybe one or two if you want to. It's up to you. Wanna do
real
it?
quick.
Look at some memes here. Let's make sure I got the right web browser up. There we go. That's right. Okay, and you can see us this time, guys. All right, let's look at this meme here. I think you're the one that shared this one with me. The off moment when your wife suddenly stops talking and asks, "What do you think?" You haven't listened for the last 10 minutes. I don't go 10 minutes without hearing what you're saying. I don't go 10 minutes. I can say that.
But this is true, though.
I go a few moments.
It's so annoying, though. And you be like, what?
I mean,
because I'm not going to repeat myself again. I don't know what I said, how I said it.
You always say, what's the last thing you heard? That's what you always say to me. And I'm like,
I'm not going back.
But the problem is, babe, and I'm not trying to put you on blast here, but you have a lot of conversations with yourself. You do. You talk with yourself. That's fine. No, that's fine. I'm okay with that. The problem is you use the same level of volume as when you're talking to me. So there are times when I legitimately think you have a conversation with yourself, and then you be like, babe, and I'm like, I know you're talking to me. I let you talk to yourself. That has happened many a time. Or I'm in the middle of something, like whether it be reading or scrolling, something like that.
Here's the thing.
And you jump in. And
I don't generally talk to myself with other people in the room. So you should always assume.
I've been in the bed. You've been in the bathroom 10 feet from me. And you talking to yourself. That has happened.
Okay, but that's in a whole separate room, though.
Just the bathroom is right there.
But it's still a separate
And sometimes
room.
you talk to me from the bathroom.
It's a door. It's a separate room.
Okay. But the door ain't closed, though.
Next one. That's TMI.
Anyway,
Next one.
Next one. I didn't say you were using a toilet. I said you were in the bathroom. Get back to sink.
Oh, my goodness.
My God. Now, this one, and this is for me. All right. This is you, babe.
Me crawling into bed after asking my husband to fill my Stanley with water, take the dog out. I don't have a dog, thank God. Turn off the lights, lock the door, and turn on the fan, and he's getting to bed.
Okay.
Listen.
No, you listen.
Listen.
Annoying.
Okay. It's not my fault because sometimes I be thinking I'm timing it right. And like I know he's downstairs, he's about to come up, and I think that I'm gonna catch him right before he comes upstairs. And then you, because sometimes you're stealth, so I don't know when you come upstairs.
It ain't the problem. I don't even get into bed. The fact that you could have did all this, you're waiting for me to come. I'm like, you wanted water. How long you been thirsty? Just waiting for me to maybe come upstairs and get you some water and do all the stuff. That's my problem. It's not even the fact that I got to bed. It's that you waited this long time for me to show up.
Because you do it so well.
No, I think you don't want to do it. Oh my gosh. We got time for one more? Let's do one more.
One more.
All right, what's this one? Oh, shit. Go ahead. Can you read it? Can you see it?
My husband doesn't have to worry about me cheating. But what did it say?
But he does have to worry about what state the house is going to be in when he gets home. All because I had an idea. Need to start right away with no proper research or preparation.
Listen, okay. All you know is things don't get done. I like to move the house around, decorate from time to time, and sometimes what they call it, girl math. I hate measuring things. I really hate measuring things. So I'll be out somewhere and I will eyeball the situation. Like I think that would fit in that corner. And so I give it a try. Yeah,
or I got to pick up something because
Well, I don't have a truck
material.
yet. I don't have a truck.
If you saw, I'm still be driving the truck. It's just you come home and it's like I have new assignments. Like we're going to do this today, and it's like.
Well, that's part of the marriage.
It is a part of it.
It's part of the marriage package.
I didn't read that fine print.
Right, exactly. That we don't read in the fine print.
Yeah,
of
we
marriage.
don't know what's in the fine print.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that, I mean, you, and then there are things that you just have rearranged yourself, and I just come home, and that's always fun because I don't have nothing to do with it. I just came home and it was done, so I love those.
No, I don't think you like when I say, babe, can we hang some wallpaper?
Oh my gosh, if we never have to hang wallpaper again, I'll be happy about that. Or pictures.
Well, you're tall, and I can't do everything myself.
I understand that,
and I try.
But you come up with ideas that you can't do. And that's my thing. You volunteer me for it, but it's part of the contract.
It's part of the contract.
It just is.
Well, if you guys have any memes you want us to react to, send them to us.
Instagram or TikTok at Jalen and Cacie,
so that we can talk about it. This was a good.
This really was
live. So y'all gotta come back next week because we're gonna pick up.
Oh shoot!
From where we left off.
I forgot. Did we ask them a question for this week?
I don't think so.
No. Check this out. This is the next week. So we're going to read your answers next week. So next community question. If you could only eat one food for the rest of your life, what would it be? It could be a particular simple food. It could be a meal. I'll even take a restaurant. There's one restaurant that you could only eat from for the rest of your life. You know, I'll accept that. Maybe. We'll see. You know what? I don't care. Answer your question. We'll be fine. But one food the rest of your life, what would it be? So let me know. We'll answer it next week. We'll get your answers in here.
I don't like leftovers. That much.
Don't, yeah.
Not that much.
Yeah, after day one, it's over.
Yeah.
So go ahead and answer the question anywhere on YouTube, wherever. We're going to post about it, Instagram, TikTok, whatever. So go ahead and leave your answer. Real quick, Images by Zell said he forgot about Minority Report. Yep. He said, he would be an airbender.
Airbender.
There you go. That'll be a good one. If you had to be any bender, airbending is probably the most useful.
Because you could fly. With an apparatus.
And you could, if you had to fight, you would do the most damage without anybody being able to prove you did it.
Was it in there where he could take the air out of somebody? Or was some other thing?
No, that was that. He didn't do it. The other dude, the villain in Cora,
that's another power that I would totally take advantage of. I don't know if I should have any of these powers. Because I would just take the air out of you, man.
If you have a question for us that you want us to answer, because we do have a Q&A segment where we answer your questions about anything, relationships usually, but anything you want us to answer a question on, comment that here on this video or send us a DM on Instagram or TikTok at Jalen and Cacie, and we'll answer it in the Q&A segment on the show. Again, subscribe to our mailing list that is in the chat or in the description of this video so that you get notified when we do things like this and other things that we do. So we love you guys. Thank you so much for your support.
Thank you so much.
We'll see you on the next one. We are Jalen and Cacie, teaching you to discover your purpose, master your relationships,
and live the. See, look, the paper's turned around. You messed it up. Start
and live
over.
the blessed life.
Start over.
Jalen and Cacie teaching you to discover your purpose.
Master your relationships and live the blessed life. See y'all next time.
We love you. See you. Once I find out where the thing is, there we go. Bye.